Hey everybody, G-Bear here, Labor Day 2016. I'm out here in the desert, and you see the pile of rocks. I've been raking those up all over the place here, clearing out my area. There's another pile over there. I got 5 or 6 piles in this location alone. And over here you'll see some stakes in the ground and some 2x4 forms. I found these 2x4s out in the desert yesterday and dragged them back here. Had enough to form up. This pad is where the solar panels will mount, because right now we are facing due south. And I checked out with the compass, so that is exactly due south right there. That's a good place to set my solar panels. They'll go in this direction, laying this way, sloped like this towards the sun. Right now the sun is just over my left shoulder, and it'll pass in a perfect arch right over the top here. Okay, now next, down here on the bottom, I want to show you, I have some stakes. One there, one there. Okay, another one here. And another one here. Okay, those are marking off shed number 1. That'll be the big one. That'll be 10 by 12. That's pushing the limit on the size that I'm allowed without actually becoming a dwelling. But I'm going to be using cinder block base without grout, so those will all be filled with concrete. So those will be just shy of the 10 by 12. It'd probably be more like 9 3/4 by 11 3/4, just to be on the safe side. Over here you'll see another set of stakes that I have driven in here. And this one here is going to be an 8 by 10. No, I'm sorry, let me correct that. I did decide to go 10 by 10 on this one. Okay, and you'll see it's slightly offset. This is the northeast corner of the 10 by 10, and that would be the northwest corner of the 10 by 12. And the reason I did that, I gave a 4-foot space in between these two, so there's a walkway in between here. But down the line, if I decide to connect these two so I can go from one to the other without opening doors to go out in the wintertime, I'm going to put a little breezeway right here where I can go with a door from that one, from here into here, and I'll be able to share these two sheds. Also, that gives me, in the front of this one, I was thinking about putting a little overhang porch for shade. So if I'm working in the summer and it's hot out, I can come out here onto this little porch area and do work and get some air. But this little offset, since the dominating winds come from that direction right there, I figured that if I offset the shed a little bit, that's going to be a windbreak. So I'll be able to work here without the wind blowing dead in my face. Also, I cleared off this area right here in front of it and got it pretty leveled out. And that'll be where I will back my van in when I need to load or unload tools or whatever. So my van will come right into this area right here, and I'll be able to back right up to the shed and load things in. That first big 10 by 12 shed will also double as an electric shed. So I will have my solar panels and wind on the back side of that, on the south side of it, and I'll be able to, as I can show you here, I'll be able to pick up the sun and the wind all day long, and it'll power directly into that shed. And then I'll run underground power coming out over to this location, where I'm planning on putting the motorhome right here. And I did looking at it, I did do some changes. I was thinking that the area right between this bush and these two bushes, which are coming out, but if I come in my road, you can see the tire tracks there, and I pull my van in right here, then I can pull it right up to this location where I'm standing, and then I would be able to just do a loop turn right out there around that bush and back over and park in front of the sheds. So that would give me full access. So if I'm bringing groceries and stuff in to the motorhome, I would be able to park right here at the edge or the back end of the motorhome, because I'm going to have the back end facing south, and that's north, so I had to have the front end facing there. And you can see this little clearing. It's pretty level. This box I put up, but I didn't set it in place yet because I need to get some exact measurements off my motorhome. And I'm going to put 4 concrete pads where each tire of the motorhome will sit on the concrete pad, and they'll be wide enough inside so that I'll be able to put jack stands. I'll make some homemade jack stands like I made for a friend's cabin up in Nevada, where you can adjust these things and crank them up or down. And I'm going to put one of those underneath each part of the chassis, at the front end, back end, and both sides, of course. And I'll be able to adjust those up so I won't have any spring or bounce in the motorhome. It'll be pretty solid. Now, this box here, as I started saying, that's going to be for my propane tank pad. So I'll set the propane tanks on there, keep them up off the ground so that they're not sitting in water in the wintertime and rusting out the bottoms. So they'll be up a little bit higher than the ground. So up here, you'll see in the distance, you'll see my level sitting on top of my tripod. Let me see if I can get that in here. I'm having trouble with glare. Anyway, yep, there it is. So I took my 6-foot level, and I didn't bring my transit out, so I have to improvise. And I used my camera tripod for a stand, and I leveled it over there. And then that's sitting right over the center of where my water tank is going to go. So I wanted to see how much higher elevation that was compared to where my motorhome is going to sit down in this area. And so what I did was I put a shovel over here and dug it in the ground. And then I taped, I've got some Velcro straps. I put a Velcro strap and put my tape measure up against this. And there's a Velcro strap. And then I raised it up and I went back and I sighted down over the top of the level over there, using it. There's a groove in the top, and I use it like rifle sights. And I aimed it here, and I kept raising the tape until the top of the tape was exactly even with what I was sighting. So then I measured from the ground up on my tripod to the top of the level, and that was, I think it was 56 3/4. So then I came over here and I started from the top of the tape and I came down 56 3/4. And that would be where the ground is back at the tripod. Then I measured from there to the ground here, and that gives me 28 1/4 inches. So I've got a 28 1/4 inch drop from 50 feet away where my tripod is, where my water tank will be, down to this point. Now I plan on having the water tank sitting up an extra 8 inches, which is the size of a cinder block, above that level. So when I raise that up 8 inches, the connection, that's where I've got to connect to the water inlet on my motorhome, will be right about in this location, just right someplace close to this shovel. I haven't got the exact setting for it, but that's going to be about a foot off the ground is where it ties in. So in effect, if I set that thing up properly, I will have a 2-inch line coming out of my water tank, reducing that down to a 1-inch line, and I'll reduce that down to a 3/4 inch line, which will in turn connect directly into my motorhome. that's going to increase my water pressure over that drop line. Now you got to remember that the top of the water is going to be, from where my level is right now, it'll probably be 2 feet higher than that. So in effect, I should have pretty good water pressure coming down. Now, if I find that there's a problem with water pressure, right about here, I am going to put a pump shed. I probably maybe move it this direction a little bit, so it's not right in my kitchen window when I'm in the motorhome. I'll put a pump shed right here. It'll just be a small thing, maybe 3 by 3. And what I'm going to do is it'll gravity feed water down to this point, and then I'll have solar panels mounted on the shed, and wind power, and a couple of batteries for power, just so that's on its own, that I won't be running off of anything else I'm running. It's going to have its own power source. And then I'll have a 12-volt water pump that they make for motorhomes. And what that does is when the water's shut off, when all the valves are shut off in the motorhome, the pump will stay in the off position. As soon as you open that up and you break the pressure on it, a switch turns the pump on automatically and pumps water towards your faucet, whatever you're using. So that gives you a little bit of a water increase in pressure. I have one in the motorhome already, but that runs off of the storage tank of the motorhome. So that will end up being my backup emergency water. I have 30 gallons in the motorhome that if something happened and I had a shutdown or emergency or a broken pipe or something like that, I would still have 30 gallons of water, which would keep me going for 4 days to a week. That's with doing everything I have to do with water. Because right now I'm living pretty much 5 days on about 8 gallons of water. So that's going to give me some pretty good idea of what I'm going to use. Now, right here, these 3 bushes, and this bush, and all of those little dead ones over there, and maybe that one in the background, and the dead ones there, but the 2 right beside the road will stay. And that will end up being guest parking. It'll be right here, because right where this one is and this one is, I plan on putting a deck level with my door. So when you know how in a motorhome you have to step on a metal step to get up into the motorhome, well, I'm going to put a deck there so that you get up onto the deck from steps on both the south side and the north side, and you can go down either way. But when I bring my van in with groceries, I'll park right there, open up the side doors of the van, take my groceries out, come right up the steps right here, and this should be about the location, I think, of my back door. So you go into my back door of the motorhome right about here, and then I can put my groceries away, and it'll be with a little bit of ease. Now, if I put a deck coming out here, I plan on going out about 8 feet and maybe 12 foot long on the deck. And it'll be a covered deck, so in the morning, when the sun comes up there in the east, it will shade that side of my motorhome to the most. That's normally where I would pull my canvas awning out, but that canvas awning wouldn't be much good out here when the winds are blowing. So I'm going to have a nice metal roof type slanted roof, corrugated metal on top of my wood deck, and I'll be able to sit out here. I'll be facing the 395 at nighttime. This is the first area that would be shaded because the sun would be setting directly behind us. So that would work out. And then what I was looking at was right about here, I have another nice little flat area. And I was thinking if I put my jacuzzi right there, that would work out just fine. Right about centered on where that dead plant is right there. So I would come down the stairs off this side of the deck, and there's the jacuzzi right there. I'd be able to just sit in there. Now my jacuzzi has 3-foot walls higher than the jacuzzi all the way around. So when you're sitting in there, I'd still have some privacy. I'll put the entrance stairs on this side right here. So when you come down my deck stairs on this side, on the north side, and you just make a quick right turn to the east, and there would be the stairs going up to the jacuzzi. So that gives me a little bit of comfort, and it'll just be really, really workable for this environment. And as you can see, I've got everything nice and cleaned and leveled out there. I've got some more bushes to take out. All of those bushes where you see my tools leaning up against, those are all going to be coming out. That's going to be basically the backyard. And I might leave that one right in front of the water tank. It's not doing any harm. But I want to leave room so that when my water truck comes in to deliver water, which might be about twice a year, he would come up this road, and then I'll have that little bush right there in the center taken out. So he'll be able to make a left turn, face south, right past that little bush right there, and then back his truck right up here to where my water tank is and fill my water tank. Then if there's extra water, which I'm planning on because I've upgraded some of the changes I made. I'll go into those later. But some of the changes I made is I went up from a 1,100 gallon water tank to a 1,550. It's only $100 more, and it's going to give me a 450 extra gallons of water. The water deliveries come in 2,000 gallon trips, and whether you use it all or not, you're going to pay for it. So I'm going to try to use it up. So I'll have my 1,550 there, and then I'm going to have about 300 gallons of water barrels that will be backup emergency storage. And one of those water barrels will turn into being a water heater run off of the solar with my dump load controller that will take all of the extra electricity that's generated during the day, and instead of just wasting it into nowhere, it will be heating up water in a 55-gallon drum, and that's going to give me my hot water to take all the hot showers I feel like taking. All of that gray water that comes off of showering will go into a solar distiller that you've seen me in some of my other videos, and I'll distill the impurities out of that, and then that'll go to irrigation or into cleaning for laundry, things like that. I can use distilled water for laundry. Won't hurt anything. Matter of fact, it'll probably make my clothes a little bit softer because it's not going to be full of all the minerals that you usually find in water. Okay, so if you look over here in the distance, we're talking maybe 50 feet from here. I'm going to zoom in. You'll see the yellow tapes and the bushes that I put there before. That's where the lake is going to be. So just a 50-foot walk off the back side of off the north side of my porch, and there'll be the lake. So all this area here, I'm going to clear off. Let me zoom back down again. All of this area right here, I'm going to clear off, and this will be where I'm going to put my fruit trees, my garden, my aquaponics, hydroponics. The stream bed comes right down there, which will be feeding the lake, and hopefully keep my lake full in the wintertime and mostly through the summer. So I will also be running a pump off of there. That's why I was thinking of putting the pump shed right here in this location, because that would be closer to the area. My pre-pond will be there. That'll be a filtration pond, and then the big pond will be there, which may grow over the years, depending. I may add a second one just a little bit more east of that, and that will give me a double capture, so I won't waste water. I'll have plenty out here, and I'll be able to pump off of that and use that for irrigation, especially if I have tilapia fish in it. The tilapia waste, the fish waste, is really good for plants. It makes them grow like crazy. So anyway, that's where I'm at right now. I did make a few changes. I just wanted you to see those. And I've got to get my ATV with my bucket up here and start removing bushes. I've done a lot of these by hand. You can see right here where I've dug a couple out, and over there and that whole area. And digging them out by hand is a real pain. I did bring my jackhammer, my electric jackhammer with a digging spade on it, but I'd have to run 70 feet of cable from where the van's parked, or break down camp and move the van over here and run it off the solar that I have on the van. And that will work. I've done it, so I know it works. No problem. All right, now that's it. I'm sure this video is plenty long for you this time, but I'm not planning on shooting many this time because I'm trying to get work done. And I lost 2 days out here. One, because I took a bad sunburn the first day. I forgot my sunblock. And two, because the wind came up 2 nights ago. And it just blew 20, 30 mile an hour gusts non-stop until about 6 o'clock this morning. And right now it's as calm as can be. There's not a breeze around. So it's getting time to go take a shower. Talk to you later. G-Bear in the desert.